Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say that I am strong. Call all Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, Bashem Ruchavodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to those that are doing this work in truth and sincerity. This is your brother Nathaniel from the GMS Camp Atlanta, coming back at you through the Spirit with another lesson. And I pray and hope this lesson is edifying. Now, in this lesson, Iran has a plan. Okay, Iran has a plan. They are going to bring down the Western financial empire, and there's pretty much nothing that they can do about it. Okay, and that's what's going to lead to the total financial collapse of America, and that's going to be oil. Okay, if this thing continues to go, it's going to spiral oil prices out of control, and it's going to pretty much shut down everything in America, because everything in America runs on oil. Okay, and this once considered a weak nation is saying, nah. Not only are they blasting and destroying the Israelites, okay, but they're also constricting the financial stability of the West through the tightening of the Strait of Hormuz. All right, now I'm gonna play this quick video because it shows you that these other nations are tired and they are sick of America, and because America is the one that caused all this, well, you can guess this is why all the rest of the nations are going to turn on this on America. Okay, so we're going to play this quick video. Then I got basically a little chart of all the countries that are being highly affected by the loss of fuel that is no longer being shipped into their country due to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, so let's go ahead and play that.
Almost there's nothing that the U.S. The more they escalate, the worse it's going to get. Because Iran has the global economy by the throat. And thus the U.S. economy by the throat. And the entire West's economy by the throat. Right now, the Iranians have shut the Strait of Hormuz. There's nothing that the U.S. can do about it. Trump said he's going to open it. So far, we haven't seen him make any move whatsoever, because obviously if he does, he'd have to bring his ships closer, and then the Iranians will destroy the ships. The more they escalate.
All right, so that's some big boy talking that they got right there. That is some big boy talking. Okay, so these Iranians ain't playing. They're sick of America, and as they should be, and that's because the Lord is putting the spirit on them to fight against America. Okay, and everything can be used as a weapon. Just as America uses everything as a weapon, the same thing can be done to America. You think that your empire can't get struck? Well, they can strike you with financial woes. All right, because everything in America is built off of money, and all of those things come to America by the way of oil. Everything needs oil. Everything uses oil. Okay. When you go to the store and you buy a pack of meat, the petroleum products, oil. The packaging, oil. When you go buy anything, plastic, oil, because there's nothing made out of glass, oil. The fuel that you put in your car, oil. The shipping for the diesel, oil. Okay? I mean, the diesel that ships the products, oil. Okay? The planes, planes use a different system. They don't really use fuel cells like cars. They use ignited air through a jet propulsion system. Okay, so that's kind of a different system that they use. However, everything revolves around the use of oil. All right, your electronics, the motherboard, oil. Okay, the casing, oil. There's very little thing in this world. Clothing, oil. You know, cleaning products, oil. There's very little that oil doesn't influence. All right, and in turn from that, jobs are going to be shut down. All right. Now I have another video, right?
You have 25 days before you can't afford to drive anymore, and I'm dead serious. The Strait of Hormuz is where 20% of the world's oil,
and it's 35%, not 20%,
moves through daily, has just closed. And JP Morgan just dropped a warning that in less than 25 days, oil production in that area stops completely, which will trigger the worst energy crisis in history. And it won't just be gas, but also groceries, and a lot of people won't even afford basic living expenses. And I'll be honest, this is terrifying, but what I just found might be one of the ways that we can protect ourselves.
Okay, so there's no way to protect yourself. People are always trying to find a way out. There's no way out. All right, now this is a list of all the countries that are starting to be affected by the prices of oil. Okay. We have Vietnam, Bangladesh. Vietnam told people to work from home. Bangladesh started rotating limits on how much they can pump. Asia-wide petrol prices surge. Traders can't even find alternative fuel supply. Thousands of flights cancel. But as I said before, planes use allegedly. Let's just say allegedly, uses a different type of fueling system. Okay, British Airways parent company crashed 6%. Jets down to 4%. Airlines reviewing all growth planes. U.S. airlines stopped hedging fuel costs years ago, now eating $120 a barrel. Fuel prices surge across Australia, Asia, Europe, and so on and so forth. JP Morgan and Chase 4.7 million barrels a day in cuts if Straits of Hormuz stay closed by day 18. G7 holds an emergency meeting tomorrow on releasing oil reserves. France preparing military mission to reopen shipping lanes. Okay, and unfortunately, it's not really going to work for too long. Of course, we still got one of the main prophecies, which is the MOTB, to come into fruition. All right, and there was another post that I seen in the chat that said Iran said to the West, prepare for. Let me see if I can Google it. Oops. Oh yeah, here it is right here. It says Iran tells the world to get ready for $200 a barrel. Dubai, Tel Aviv, Iran's military command said on Wednesday that the world should be prepared for oil to hit $200 a barrel. All right. It says Dubai, Tel Aviv, Iran's military commander said on Wednesday the world should prepare for $200 prepare for oil to hit $200 a barrel, and as more ships came under attack in the blockade of the Gulf, as Iran fired at Israel targets across the Middle East on Wednesday, demonstrating it can still fight back and disrupt energy supplies despite what the Pentagon has described as the most intense U.S.-Israel strikes, which is bullshit. I mean, Iran got missiles for days, man. They have over 800,000 missiles or something crazy like that, and they're really cheap to make. So they have a supply of missiles, and then they got China and Russia backing them. It said oil prices shot up earlier this week, has eased and shocked the markets. Have rebounded, with investors betting now that the U.S. President Donald Trump will find a quick way to end the war alongside Israel nearly 2 weeks ago. But so far, there has been no let up on the ground or any sign that the ships can safely sail through the Strait of Hormuz, where a 1/5 of the world's oil has been blockaded behind a narrow channel along the Iranian coast, the worst disruption of energy supply since the oil stocks of 1970. All right, so you see it says, get ready for oil to be $200 a barrel. The oil prices depend on regional security, which you have destabilized. Ibrahim Zoforkara, spokesman for Iranian military command, said in his comments addressed to America. Okay, after officials of the Bank of Tehran were hit overnight, Zofarkari also said Iran would respond with attacks on banks that do business with the U.S. or Israel. People across the Middle East should stay 100 meters from banks, he added. Okay, so Iran not playing, man. The weak is saying that they're strong, and the weak is not playing with America. They're not playing with America, and these other countries are going to blame America for, what's happening. The Saudi countries are also writing letters. Let's see if I can find that. There we go. It says, this is Facebook. All right, I'm going to read this real quick. Then we're going to get back to the scriptures. I don't know why they constantly log you fucking in, man. Okay, we're not going to do that. Here's something right here. It says Saudi prince to Trump lit Palestinians return to Jaffa and Haifa. It says the Prince Turki Al Faisal, former Director General of Saudi Intelligence, wrote a letter to Donald Trump in a national newspaper after his call to displace Palestinians from Gaza, telling him that Palestine people are not illegal immigrants to be deported to other lands. He stressed that the lands are the lands, and the houses that Israel destroyed are the homes, and they were built, and they will rebuild them, and they have done after previous Israel onslaughts on them. This isn't the letter I wanted. The letter that I wanted basically said that we gave you the authority to bring us into a war. Okay, that's pretty much what that letter said. Okay, but anyway, like it. So I'm gonna go to Isaiah the 19th chapter, and I'm gonna go to the 14th verse, and it says, "And the Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his own vomit." All right, and we see that these mistakes, this war has become very costly for the global South, starting with America and then all of its associates, which is going to lead to Revelation, the 17th chapter, I believe, where it says, "These shall hate the whore," and I'll get that in just a moment. And it says, "Neither shall there be any work in Egypt which the head or tail, branch or rush may do." So, no more CEOs. No more CFOs, No more blue collar workers, no more white collar workers, no more line workers, no more fast food workers. There's not going to be any oil to bring these things to and fro anymore. Okay? So all that stuff is going to be gone. And it says, in that day, Egypt should be like unto a woman, and shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which shaketh over it. So it's like a man, shaking his hand out of his child, like, you badass little child, I'm about to whoop your ass. And that's exactly what the Lord is saying about Babylon the Great, that he's shaking of the hand, revealing all of the wickedness of Esau and creating a chokehold for these Edomites. But the elect of Israel are not going to feel the effects of it. I mean, it's still going to be Jacob's trouble because the hour of temptation has to overtake the whole earth, right? So Jacob is going to be tempted. However, the elect won't take it, and the Lord is going to take care of his elect. All right, so I'm going to go to the book of Revelation real quick and close it out on that. Revelation 17. And it says, it's Babylon 1, 17 and 1. It says, and they came one of the 7 angels which had 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, come hither and see, and I will show unto you the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, whom the kings of the earth have fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Okay. Verse 3, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast full of the name of blasphemies, and having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet in color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and the filthiness of her fornication. And the name of her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, the abomination of the earth. And now we see that America has been called out as the abominable nation on the earth. Nobody wants to deal with this hoe. Okay? And I'm going to scroll down a little bit. All right. I think it's the next chapter. Yeah, I'm going to start at verse 2. It says, I'm going to start at verse 1. And after these things I saw the woman come down from heaven, great power, and the earth was lightening with his glory. And he cried with a mighty strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. That's not what I wanted. It's like it was 17. Yeah, this is, I skipped over Salakia. This is Revelation 17 and 16. And it says, I'm going to start at verse 15. And it says, and he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So the waters are describing people, different types of people. Okay? And it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Now here's the biggest point. For Yahweh had put in their hearts to fulfill his will, to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, and to the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. Okay, so the kings of the earth, the horns, are about to burn this place with fire, starting with the financial woe, which there's not going to be any grinding, and there's not going to be any hope, and people are going to be darkened because they're not going to have any work. There's going to be nothing to do. There's going to be great famine and great death and great destruction here in America, and that's coming very soon. All right. So with that, I'm going to end it off by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakar Kodash. And to the next time, I say Shalom.